Warning! The following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on this show are reflective of AZ Orsini, Steve Dave, and their guests exclusively. Seriously, guys, my dada and uncle say some pretty crazy stuff. If it offends you, go be butthurt somewhere else.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and now your hosts, AJ Orsini with Dave.
Hi. Hello, everybody out there. This is your boy, AJ Orsini, with episode 290. How about that? Episode 290. We are here with another episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and don't let the question mark fool you. Deceive Dave, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm here. Yep.
Now, the biggest question to lead off here: do you have any more of those mixed beverages coming your way for this session here?
Mixed beverages?
Mixed beverages. Mixed.
Oh no! I should though. Damn, I didn't think about it. You're a smart man.
It's becoming traditional.
I should have. You might have to pause.
Oh, jeez. Oh, all pause activated. Yes. So we are here with another edition here, episode 290. Much to discuss and digress into. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics of conversation for fire. And I do mean that literally, as we have much to discuss. And as a matter of fact, why don't we go ahead and discuss what will be on the show here today?
Come on, don't keep us waiting. What's going to happen on the show today?
Fire is the literal word of the game, as we will be opening our festivities with, of course, this long-lasting, never-ending hellfire that's been raised across the west coast of the United States of America. Los Angeles is still riddled with not just one, but about 3 different wildfires taking place all at the same goddamn time. LA is under digress. We will talk a little bit about that. Squid Game's Season 2A, as opposed to Season 2B, continued. There's much more to discuss when it comes to Squid Games and another season that's impending. But the first half of the new shit is in the books. We're going to be talking about it. Segment 3 is going to take us to the land of the rising sun, as Chris Charlton becomes my boyhood hero. He becomes the voice of the voiceless, the truth speaker. We also have Penta's WWE debut. The masked luchador makes his way. The Lucha Underground standout becomes a WWE superstar. And, of course, Corey Graves in the Great Debate. He had a tweet the other day that set the world ablaze. We have an update on that, as well as what it means to be on the big stage with big expectations and, of course, meeting up with sometimes big disappointments. So that's what's going to be on the show here today. We, of course, are going to open up with our first segment of the show.
Let's begin segment 1.
Segment 1 begins where I just said we're opening up with our Land of Fire. Now, the ultimate irony, and what we're going to be discussing here with the LA Fires is that somebody pointed out to me, and it's a really interesting fun fact, that the United States right now is completely bipolar. The West Coast is literally in flames. It's on fire. And the East Coast is literally living under a sheet of ice. It's freezing over here on this side of the goddamn country. I can't feel my toesies. I can't feel my digits, my fingers over here. It's getting numb. So I'm figuring if we take the United States, that we do like a folded omelet situation. We just kind of fold it in half like that. We'll balance out. But what have you heard? Have you heard anything recent? What have you heard about these LA fires that have been taking place over on the West Coast?
Nothing really. I mean, it's been all over the place. I just don't really.
Yeah,
pay
because you
attention
don't
to
give a
it too
shit
much.
because you're not over there
It's not
dealing with it.
no, it's not that. It's just I don't know. The media tried to, and maybe you'll understand this a little bit better and can explain it. I really feel like the media tried to make it about celebrities for like a minute, and then people like shut that shit down. Just
Yeah.
from the glance that I've kind of saw, like I don't know, the vibe that I noticed, like there were people, famous people, trying to talk about their house burning, and then it just got like a little weird, and then
Yeah.
I just stopped hearing about it, and I just know the fire's still going on.
It almost feels like the media got bored.
I think it was like a draw to make money, and I think it like hurt more than it actually helped.
It was almost like the news was the fire, but the fire never went away. It was like a whole week. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, how much more can we talk about fire? So let's spruce it up. The second half of LA Fires is sponsored by TMZ. And then we'll have all these celebrities coming in. And I lost my house, too. On the wrestling front, I don't know if anybody out there realized this, but there's a wrestling story that occurred with the fires. Apparently, former WWE superstar Melina, who lives in that area, went missing. Everybody had assumed the worst, but we're here to validate and let everyone know that she has been found alive and well. Apparently, she just ditched her place because her place was much like a lot of the situations happening in LA. It's unsalvageable. They weren't able to save the home. There's a lot of people going through that right now. For those of you who, much like my brother, who haven't been paying attention to the specifics, I know everyone's heard about it. It's on YouTube Live everywhere. It's on your social media. It's there. But the thing about the wildfires happening in California, and I wanted to point this out. This isn't the first time this has happened. As a matter of fact, I think, wasn't it last year? Didn't we start off last year with fire? Or was it earthquakes, I believe we started it off with? It was one of the
It
other.
wasn't, but at least 2 to 3 years ago, where like Oregon and all that stuff that I remember was completely on fire.
Yeah, so there's something about that area when it comes to the humidity, the course of high winds. There's a dry spell that goes through that side of the country that's pretty strong for a while, and then this kind of just happens. There was a lot of rumor mill that some of the fires were not naturally started. There were people who were starting those fires, so that's a whole other side of the coin that people have to investigate. But there's been a lot going on that front. We heard stories now of fire departments running out of water, which is interesting considering it's the largest state that neighbors the largest ocean on the entire planet. And I know there's more to it than that. It's not that simplistic. They didn't this isn't a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. They didn't just put a tube in the ocean by the beach and just laid the hose out and just prayed for the best. But there is a sweet irony in the fire department saying, yeah, we ran out of water while they're sitting next to the largest body of water on the entire planet. But it is what it is. And the city of Los Angeles, by the way, is not that far from the ocean. I would know. I was just there. So now I feel 100% like an expert. I was watching the news and I was looking for stuff that I saw, like places that I was. I was just like, oh, that's not over where I was it? Because that place was nice. That place was nice. I hope they still got
I think
that
the
place.
biggest news that came from it that I heard was like the insurance pulling out real fucking quick.
Yes.
So
So
a lot of people are getting screwed because of that because they're allowed to do that, which is fucking crazy.
yeah. So there was a lot of conversation. Apparently, before this wildfire took place, I saw a video. It was going around. It kind of went viral. Joe Rogan had apparently had some ecological whatever. Somebody who does terrain, who does the weather, who does all that stuff, and they were on the show talking about how it's a hotbed. It was almost like waiting to happen at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It was just.
I saw the same thing.
Yeah.
The guy was pretty much explaining how
it could happen.
finds it insane. The main thing that stood out for me is that I don't know if it's the same one, but I remember hearing something where the person thinks it's absolutely absurd considering that it's like a known vulnerability that they don't invest in cleaning the rainforest or cleaning up the forest, like certain debris and things like that. And they went on like an hour rant about how easy it is for that. Once that thing goes up in flames, it's going to be impossible because we don't invest money on keeping that stuff at least cleaned up enough to where you can detain it. And then this happened, and I'm like, I remember that conversation. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, and because of that, because I guess it was such a high potential situation, a lot of these insurance companies have not learned their lesson. They're still playing with fire over here. Luigi didn't get the message across. We ain't fucking around over here. They're still fucking people over with the insurance shit. There's this whole paying, and they're paying for it. That's the crazy part. They're paying for fire insurance specifically for shit just like this. And they're just, oh man, we would love to help you out. You guys look like you're in a hard situation right now, man. This really sucks. This really sucks. I would really love to help you. Unfortunately, and then here comes the bullshit with the whole we can't do this and we can't do that. And so now, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people now. They're just like, well, I've lost everything. Well, at least I can get some sort of financial backing for a new home. No, see about that, and then nothing. Mm-hmm. And then they won't.
And guess what? All those rates, all those people that had good rates, anybody who had good rates from buying that shit before COVID, good luck.
Yeah, and the sick part is that they're going to say no, that we can't do anything about it. But then if they miss a payment.
Oh, they're not going to miss a payment. They're going to say, sorry, we can't cover you. By the way, friendly reminder, courtesy, your bill is due in 10 days.
The bill.
And it didn't go down, by the way. We took coverage away, but your actual bill did not change.
It's more of the same, I guess you could say. And so they're running into a lot of situations over there concerning that. So I'm going to click on this for just a second. I had this queued up, so I just
all right, welcome back.
Whoa. Let me. So really quickly, I already sent this to you, right? This is a clip from, I have it here. Boop. There we go. ABC News. There's a guy who's going to come on here. He is the wildfire scientist and fire ecologist. Ecologist? That sounds weird. Ecologist. There you go. That sounds like a regular human being. Chad Hansen. Can I just say for the record, I just love the fact that his name is fucking Chad. That's fucking amazing. But just really quickly, I'm not going to play the whole clip, just enough for him to say his piece here about why he is under the assumption all this is happening. They've done some of the research already. This was posted a week ago, so this was right at the start of everything here, like right in the midst of it. So here's that piece from ABC News. This is on YouTube.
All right, welcome back. As these wildfires spread across Southern California, we know that many environmentalists right now are sounding the alarm on the role that climate change is playing in fueling some of these fires. Joining me with more on this is Chad Hansen, who's a wildfire scientist and fire ecologist with the John Muir Project and author of Smokescreen, Debunking Wildfire Myths to Save Our Forests and Our Climate. Is certainly a worthy cause. So thank you for being here with us. And look, we've been talking a lot about how we knew this wind event was coming. We've also been talking a lot about how it impacts people that live in that, urban wildland interface. And we're seeing that play out in a really scary way out here. So as you watch this, what in particular made this so dangerous? Is it really just the combination of all those factors in this moment, also considering the low humidity?
Yeah, it is. It's a combination of factors that are all coming together at the same time and creating these really, really dangerous conditions. We have a fall and early winter where there's been very, very little precipitation. We have these really dry winds coming at incredible speeds with the Santa Ana winds coming off the deserts and coming down those canyons at hurricane force. And we have communities in the way, and we have these fires that are close to communities, and many communities have already been severely impacted. So yeah, it is that kind of circumstance that doesn't come along that often, fortunately, but it is happening more often because of climate change. That is a factor here.
And so when you're looking at climate change and you believe that that's a factor here, are you looking particularly at the fire starts, or are you looking at the increasing wind gusts here? I mean, they clocked a gust at 100 miles an hour out here today.
Yeah, I mean, some of the gusts. I mean, even for Santa Ana winds, some of the gusts that we're seeing are way on the high end. I mean, this is a rare event. But what I'm talking about mostly is the increase in the area that burns. Ignitions can be a factor, but also just the area that burns. When you have the right conditions, because it's dry, because you have the winds, you're going to get larger fires typically, and more communities impacted for a given ignition. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And so, for me, it really just underscores the fact that we have to reimagine our policies and our approach to wildfires with regard to community safety. And we need to focus directly on protecting communities through proven methods that we know work, as opposed to trying to manage wildlands and manage vegetation, which does not work.
So there were, like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but he was mentioning the climate change factor in this, that it's getting drier, that these winds are really irregular. Now they're in California. You visited. You've obviously been to California, but you've been to Oregon, right? Or am I confusing that with Washington? Which one did you go to again?
I went to Oregon.
You went to Oregon. Seattle's in Washington, which is above Oregon, and that area up there, I always hear it's like rainy, like all the time. Like it rains like so much. So Oregon's kind of in the middle. What was the weather and environment like in Oregon? Was it hot? Was it rainy?
So I went up. When I went up the first time, is around the winter time ish. So it was. I don't know. I thought it was fine. It was normal. The second time I went up was with my wife. This was after the fires had finally stopped because it was burning for a while, and then we went up there. And dude, when we drove on the highway to his house, everything was just black. Like you just left, right. It's supposed to be all trees, but it was all just black stumps all over the place. So it was kind of insane to see, like everything just so burnt. It was very eerie to like drive through. I mean, to him, it was all kind of normal.
Yeah,
so he was like, yeah, this happened. Like, yeah, it was crazy. The smoke was crazy. But to me, I was like, oh, this is wild. Like I've never seen anything. Like, you know, you drive on the highway, you look to the left, and you'll just see the mountains. You see the green and the mountains in the distance, and you're like, oh, it was all black, just black wood, like stumps straight across. So instead of seeing like waves of green, it was just waves of black. It was just, I can't really explain it. It was crazy to see. I'm sure it looks like it now, right over there.
Bringing up climate control, climate change, I've heard that one before. So I was watching this, Netflix used to have, I don't know if it still has it or not. It had like a 4-part docuseries, and each episode was dedicated to like another natural disaster. So like a tornado, a hurricane, a volcano eruption, shit like that. And each single one of them was just like, this is what Tornado Alley used to look like, but now because of climate control, I keep saying control. I work for the government. We control the weather. The Tornado Alley has, because of climate change, has shifted. It's like a different path now. Hurricanes are getting further up the coast more than it should, or more than the norm. Or earthquakes are happening more frequently because fault lines are changing. So when he mentioned climate change here, I came to the same conclusion about that side of the country that I do with all of the other ones, which is, if this is as bad as it's ever been, you got to be nervous because there's a good chance mathematically it could get worse than this because of the climate change. Now we're getting into a territory where we're in uncharted waters here. Because they're saying it's one of the biggest wildfires they've ever had to deal with, and that comes after the heels of, like you said, about 2 or 3 years ago when we had another one. And Australia had one not too long ago either, where they had a big brush fire as well, a big wildfire that took place over there. So it's starting to get a little, I think the word that was used in that documentary is starting to get a little spooky, just on the way that the planet is kind of adjusting itself to what we've been doing to it. It's acclimating. We're not destroying it completely and outright, but it's acclimating to it. So now if I lived in, I don't know, bumblefuck Oklahoma, and I'm right there in that fucking tornado zone, which would be normal for me. It's what I grew up with. It's what my grandparents grew up with. And now my zone is just outside the new tornado alley. I'm just like, yes! Finally, I was 10 toes down. I didn't move. He moved. It's like the tornado punked out. He didn't want this smoke. He left, So it's a lot like we don't get a lot up here, like New York, Philly. We don't get tornadoes. We don't get a ton of hurricanes. We don't get earthquakes. We don't get any of that stuff. The one thing that we do get is extreme cold. We do get blizzards. We do get consistent freezing temperatures up here. Not as bad if you keep going up north, obviously, like Canada or something like that. Like here in New York, it's cold right now, but I'm pretty sure if I was in Maine right now, I'd be pretty pissed at life right now. But yeah, so with the climate change coming in, there's going to be a lot of different things happening there. I'm glad you brought up the situation with the fucking celebrities, because I think the first one that I saw was Zachary Levi. And they were asking him some sort of question, and he looked like he didn't even want to be there, which was hilarious. So they asked him sort of question, and he opens it by saying, first and foremost, I think we should all just take a moment and just send out prayers to the families who did it. And I immediately clicked the button. I said, these motherfuckers are losing their homes, losing their lives. You're going to start bringing the Bible into this. I'm good. I'm going to the next one. Okay? Jesus burned your house down. Don't go to him for advice. This was all part of God's plan. Remember that. Nothing happens by accident. You were chosen. Karma is coming back to get you. So there you go. So yeah, we're gonna keep. This is still. We're on we're on. I want to say week 2 of this now. Of it still going. So I guess if anything new happens, we'll come back to it next week to see what the end result of that is, what that total devastation is going to look like. But it looks insane when you see different film clips. If you go to YouTube, there's actually a satellite picture of what it looks like in space, and it just looks like someone put a cigarette lighter to the ass of the United States of America. Just right there, boom, it's humongous. So, condolences to those out there who lost all their shit, man, we're hearing now there's just hundreds of people. We're getting closer to thousands of people who have lost their homes, who are displaced. They're going to be going into, the shelter programs over there right now must be out of control. We did the podcast over the summer. There was already an extremely large amount of homeless. So for those of you who live out there, who have been casting aspersions, who have been looking down, sticking your nose above those homeless folks down there, and felt yourself higher than the rest of them. Welcome to the team, kids. Hopefully we can work together and get this whole thing figured out. So I hope everybody out there is doing okay, and I hope this comes to an end soon. I hope they find the water they're looking for to put this out. Yeah, y'all got to come to some sort of come to Jesus meeting over there and get that figured out. So we are off to the next segment.
Next up, segment 2.
Segment 2, before I go any further. Did you finish it? I'm just going to start with that, just so I know where I can go and what I can play with.
No, I've not finished it.
Have you moved from where you were when you were here?
Yes. Well, an episode or 2, yes.
So you still haven't gotten to 2? Season 2?
No, we watched... No, we're in... Oh! Dude, my bad. I thought... Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we finished that over there. No, we're at season 2, like episode 2 or something like that.
Okay, so you're just now getting into season 2.
The last thing I can remember was he was walking around and he went back to that guy's mom's house and the boy was bigger.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I'm sure I probably saw more, but just off the top of my head, like that's the last thing I can remember.
Okay, good. So then this segment is going to be really good for you here. Okay, so
Oh,
Squid Game.
I'm really liking this.
Yes.
Open it up for me.
No. Like we said before, we made the deal. If you're into it, I won't ruin it.
I am like, this is a thing, and I can't. This is one of those things like I can't watch it by myself. I want to watch it with her, so we just got to line up.
Okay. Yeah, we did this. I had the same problem over here. Trust me about it.
Yeah.
Here's why I really wanted to talk about this for this episode because when you came to visit, we were already balls deep into season 2. We were just like an episode or 2 off from finishing it all together, but we put it on pause. We didn't want to ruin it for you. But when you came the first night, we tried to pick up where you left off. And so, like, we were watching a little bit more of season 1.
We were watching the olds. Oh, with us.
With you guys, yeah. And so, when me and Steph were watching season 1, and we were like, wait, that seems familiar. Wait, that seems familiar. Wait, that seems familiar. So, it kind of got me thinking. So, when you guys left, I had a lot of stuff to do in the house when you guys left. I was doing the stuff in the house, and I said, you know what? From where we left off with you, I'm gonna just let this bitch rock. And I was like, all right, let's get to the end of season 1 again and take this ride one more time. And I started picking up on something.
I started seeing stuff you didn't see before.
Not just that. There was a few of those. But I started noticing a pattern. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife about it. I said, I think I'm seeing a pattern. And she was like, yeah, I was seeing it the other night because this happened and that happened. And it's just like it happened in season 2 and blah, blah, blah. So one of the things when the Asian names, I know I'm an Asian. I should know these names, but these names are really hard for me sometimes. So I'm going to go with the character name. The guy who plays Gi-hung, the main guy, mm-hmm. right? I forgot the actor's name. Yeah. He went on Jimmy Fallon to promote the season before it came out, and they were asking him questions. And he said on the show, or he was asked on the show, first he was asked about how much of a success season was, to talk about that a little bit, what that was like, and he answered that. And then he said, so for season 2, you got a lot of expectations coming out on season 2. How do you think this one's going to fare? How do you think people are going to accept this, get into it? And he was honest. I loved his answer because it doesn't set the bar all that high, but at the same time, like, it gets you hype. His response to that was, he goes, well, I don't know if we'll be able to mimic the success of the first one because it was so huge, right? It's the first time people have seen it, so it's new. It's an out there thought process, right? It's brand spanking new. It's something that people have never seen before, so they gravitated towards it. He said, so for season 2, I don't know if it's going to have the same impact, but we know that it's going to be just as good because we're making sure that we follow a lot of the same patterns that we used in the first. They didn't want to stray too far from what made that first season so great. So that's the way that he said that. He said, yeah, there's a certain way that we did it to try to make sure that we kept a lot of that magic. And so he goes, I don't know if it's going to be as successful, but I do know it's going to be as well done. That's what he said.
There you go. That's a good answer.
That's a great answer. So I said, I'm hyped. As long as I don't need the mass public to get behind it. If it's good, it's good. I want to watch it. So we started watching season 2, and we were really into it. And at first, I really felt like, I really felt like they did different things with it. It wasn't as similar. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is new. Okay, this is new. Oh, okay, all right. I'm getting into this. And then you came, and we started watching the older episodes. And as I finished the season again, I started realizing, they really did stick to the goddamn formula. They really did. Like, they had to change something slightly because there's new people here, there's new personalities, but at the same time, it's very, very subtle things. Like, as an example, and again, this is not a spoiler. I'm just giving you an example of how they wrote this. In the first season, when the team first gets together, Gi-hung, his friend Sang-woo, the old man, once that team kind of gets together for the first time, something happens and Gi-hung decides, you know what, we're such a good team. We've had each other's backs. Maybe it's time that we tell each other our names. Mm-hmm. So they were like, okay, so they started going around whatever. Oh, my name is this, my name is that. When it got to the old man, he kind of played it off. He was just like, oh, my name? Oh, let me think, and they just went, oh, he's just being an old man, right? He's just having a brain fart. We get it. We understand. So he got away with not really telling his name, but eventually we do learn his name. But in that moment, the way that he played with it was just like, oh, they did that again in the second season. They not Gi-hung this time, but somebody else had mentioned, hey, we're going through a lot of bullshit here. We're trying to stay alive. We should probably get to know each other's names. And they started going around. And there's this one person who's just like, and then there's a quick change of topic and we never get the name until after the fact, but just like in the first season. And oh, okay. And then the first season had that one lady who just wouldn't shut the fuck up. She was like this crazy maniacal.
Oh no, she was gangster.
She was gangster, and her death was the ultimate gangster move. So they
you hated her at first, but you loved her. You started to like her in the middle, and you loved her at the end, dude. She was fucking awesome.
So they had that character, and as a female, just kind of like a wild card kind of character. Season 2 has that as well. It's a different type. But there's a lady in season 2 who's like a wild card. You don't know what the fuck this chick is gonna do. You don't know if she's good. You don't know if she's bad. You just know that when she puts her mind to it, she's gonna fuck you up, kind of shit. Uh-huh. So you're like, there were a lot of times where we drew parallels to season 1 and season 2. The only thing the one thing that I really, really love about season 2 that they did that was slightly different from season 1, and again, no spoilers, but I will tell you this: the Gi-hung that we got in season 1 is nowhere close to the Gi-hung we get in season 2. It's a completely different person. It's a completely different character, and when you see the episode of when he decides to join the games again, which is a very pivotal episode. I think if you saw him see the young boy get bigger, then I believe it's the next episode where there's going to be this big issue, and he ends up the episode's going to end with him deciding to go back into the games. But you got to pay attention to that conversation. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to pay attention to the conversation because it's important. To me, it sets up the vibe for the whole goddamn season.
I don't know if this is after, but I'm now you're talking. I'm remembering he caught the guy who introduced him to the game. They played the game with the rock, paper, scissors ×2.
Yeah.
And then that guy got killed, and then he ended up in the room with the main guy, and a fucking gangster ass scene where he just was like, "You ain't calling me pussy," he fucking pulls it and gives it back to him. Now all you have to do is shoot me. Yeah. Oh my god, it was so good. But that's a lot. Yes, and then he was talking to the guy about wanting to.
Yes,
he's gonna go back. He's gonna go back, and the guy's like, "Let me help you," and he's like, "No."
Well, so, that's Plan B is going back. Plan A is, I think, shortly after that they tried to trick the front man, which is the guy with the mask and the hoodie, to being at a certain location.
I didn't get that far.
I'm gonna leave it at that. That's Plan A, right? Yeah. But as we all know from the trailer, I mean, that's already been spoiled. He gets back into the game, so obviously Plan A didn't work.
Yeah, I know he's in the game, but
right.
I don't even have to see a scene. I know he's going back.
But I'm telling you, the way that Plan A fails is also straight up just gangster, right? Because Gi-hung is about his business, right? He's not fucking around. So, like you saw in that scene with the recruiter, right? You could see in Gi-hung that he's a completely different person at this point. He doesn't give a fuck. If the gun goes off, he's happy about that. He's got nothing to fucking lose at this point. So
he's playing with house money.
He's playing with house money for sure. and that shit carries over. So when that plan fails and then they enact plan B, pay attention to that conversation because it sets the tone for the whole fucking thing. Because season one was a lot about greed. It was a lot to do with redemption. He was down on his luck, but he was an optimist, right? That's why he's always smiling. He's trying to see the better side of things. He tried to keep his good heart no matter what happens, even though he kind of poisoned his own heart a little bit when he was trying to survive. When he was playing marbles with the old man in the first season, and the old man was kind of playing him a little bit with the marbles, and
he fully played him.
He fully played him.
He had full control of that whole situation to the point where right before he gives it to him, obviously, well, hindsight, we know he didn't care, right?
Right, yeah.
He was done at that point in hindsight, but in the moment, he gives it to him. He's like, oh, still kind of playing stupid, but in that moment, he asks him, how could you do that to me? Like, it's very, it's like a one-liner that he does it, and they don't pay attention to it too much. They go right past it. But he basically was just like, yo, I can't believe you do that.
No, he said, I have an idea. Why don't we have one more wager, all that I have, against all that you have? And Gi-hun had 19 marbles. He only had the one.
Yeah.
And Gi-hun was like, why would I do that? That's so stupid. And he goes, isn't that what you have been doing to me this whole time? And then Gi-hun's face froze.
Yeah, but it's also so cool that in the moment, even though he maybe did realize, he's never really said it, that he realized he was
cheating,
locked in the whole time. Like the old man knew what he was doing the whole time. Oh,
it's not fleshed out, but it's left up to you as the viewer to be like, oh, he was playing him this whole fucking time.
Oh my God.
And so here's why I thought the writing for season 2 was tremendous, because like I said in season 1, that's probably the one moment where Gi-hun kind of slips and kind of darkens himself a little bit, because now it's getting to a point where it's about survival, right? He's in this game no matter what's happening. He needs to survive. So that's part of the process. That was the first step. After that situation with the old man, then they had the plates of glass, and he was going to grab the first vest. And then that dude who had the 16th vest, he was like, do you want to switch? I want to control my own fate. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. It ended up being a death sentence. Gi-hun had the last vest, and he was the last to go walk across the plank of glass. But even in that moment, he was thinking about survival. So it's gradually getting more and more. When they get to the triple threat match where the girl is bleeding out and Sang-woo kills her, now he has a reason to kill Sang-woo to survive. It's not just survival. Now he almost feels vindicated in doing it. So when he gets to the moment in Squid Game, excuse me, that last moment in Squid Game where he's about to win, but he can't do it because he knows that if he goes into the triangle, that his friend's going to get shot. Mm-hmm. So they agreed that they were going to, he was trying to get him to agree to end the game there so they could both live and split the pot. And Sang-woo decided to kill himself instead. So every step of the way, even in the other games where it was team games, he kind of had an out on every one of the games with the exception of the marbles. He had an out every single time. He was never really put in a position where he had to kill someone. And yet still, if you remember, when he won the games and he left, he spent a year just sulking. He was considering it blood money. It's not mine. That money sat in an account untouched for a full year because he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't want anything to do with it. That money was earned on blood and da-da-da-da. He was lost. He roamed. He was doing all kinds of shit up until the end when he saw the old man again. And then he kind of, seeing the old man again and knowing that he died kind of put a rest to the guilt a little bit till we get to the airport. Then in the airport, when he's about to get on the plane, he has the phone conversation with the front man. We see a new set of determination on him, and that's how that season ends, with him exiting the airport. Season 2, as you've seen so far, because now you're pretty deep at this point, he's a whole completely other person. Now we're 2 years into the future, 3 years since he's played the games, and he is hyper-focused, laser-focused even.
Can I say though,
Go
like
ahead.
to the real quick to the comment that you made about like the change in him, I want to make mention that like the thing that I love about it the most is that they do a very good job at doing that transformation without breaking my reality, right? Like the same thing happened at the end of Squid Games 1, where they're not like these guys aren't killers. They're kind of like a bunch of they're all kind of like a bunch of pussies, aside from the gangster and the young girl.
Yeah.
The one young girl, she's a gangster too. So both the actual gangster dude who killed that guy and jumped off the bridge,
Right.
and then the little girl, the younger girl, those two are actually, I think, some people are about that life, stuff like that.
Right.
The rest of them, for the most part, I think are all just your average Joe pussy people.
Yes.
But they all, and you get that vibe from all of them the entire way. But then you get this weird transition at the end where it's just the three guys. It was just the two guys and then the girl. And then not the main guy, but his friend kills the girl. And at that moment, when he's standing in front of, because they already fucked me up when he killed the Indian. When he did the Indian guy dirty like that,
Yeah,
fucking
Ali,
just
yeah.
killed me. My wife was crying and everything. Like that shit was, we were so pissed, like actively pissed off that shit was happening.
You know what?
But
You know what made it extra sad when he was walking by? Sangwoo, I'm done with this side, Sangwoo.
Oh my
I was
God,
like, oh
dude.
man, this fucking
God,
guy.
that fucking kills me, dude. So like, but the moment he's standing over it was pretty nuts because he runs to the doors like, get her some help, she's bleeding out, and he turn the lights on and homie is standing there, and I feel like I had the same exact feeling as if I was him standing in the room in that moment. Like me and my wife were like, oh, no, and dude's there, the hole's in her neck, and in that scene you can basically see that's when whoever those two people were is fully dead. They're completely gone. They are different people now.
Yeah,
in
forever
that moment,
changed.
in that scene. Oh, that one dude's a killer. He ain't no longer a pussy. He's
Yeah.
ready to kill everything and anyone to get what he needs. He's completely unhinged. I say all this to get to my point that when they were actually doing the Squid Game, I loved the Squid Game scene, and this is comment to what you were saying about his pivot and the way he's changing and the way he's acting.
Yeah.
I love the scene because they literally turn into brawlers. They have a good fight while also being clumsy.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if like they're fighting for their lives. So they're actually able to have a fight where it kind of looks like, well, these guys actually know how to fight. But then they'll do stupid shit like slip over their foot or something silly like that, where they're really clumsy, like, and it almost is like they're scared, so they can't keep their composure. It didn't turn into like a Bruce Lee thing where they're like, all of a sudden,
everyone knew kung fu.
yeah, all of a sudden they're mad nice. No, these dudes are just two
People.
nerds fighting, and they're stumbling, and but it was a good fight scene though.
Yeah.
Like it was good to watch, but it also kind of like kept them normalized at the same time. And I say that so that when I see him so far in this season, it's the same vibe. He's still the dork.
Yeah.
He's still the almost softy a little bit. His whole purpose right now, that's the softy inside. But like you said, he's dead in the face.
Yeah.
So it's like he's making these decisions he's not the same person. He's not giving me the same energy, but he's also didn't turn into the hitman all of a sudden.
Right.
Like he's still being clumsy. He's still being scared. He's still doing shit, but I also see him doing it at a higher level at the same time. It's just great writing, good writing so far. But God, the fucking acting it's so good. Sometimes I forget I'm watching a dub.
Yeah.
Or sub. A dub.
It's a dub, yeah.
Especially in season 2, the dubs. I swear to God, they're talking English.
Now
Like,
Netflix has the option now where you could put the Korean audio in, but like you said, like a lot of people usually get turned off by dubs, but the story is so good, you're not even paying attention to the fact that it's a dub.
Bro, we forgot the subs were off for the first episode. That's how good it was. I thought they were just talking. No, it's a
really good show. And so what I was saying before about Gi Hung in the second season, we were looking at a very optimistic Gi-hung in the first one. We're looking at a very pessimistic one on the second. And that's the key to the whole season. For anybody who hasn't seen the season yet, the episode where Gi-hung makes, I can't really describe it without spoiling it, but when he makes the decision to go back to the games, it's a very pivotal scene because of what's discussed within that. It's almost like a challenge is made in that situation, where it's like Gi-hung is being put in a position where it's just like, wow, you've been obsessing for 2 years to find the people who put these games on so you can put it into the games. And it's like the dog chasing the ice cream truck. All right, well, now the truck is here. What do you want to do? Like, how far are you willing to really go for what you feel like you believe in and doing the right thing? Like, is this really the right thing? Do you really want to go down this path? So you're gonna see him really, really tested in this. And episode 1 had a nice little swerve in it. Episode 2 had a nice little swerve in it. The next 2 episodes that you're going to see also have a nice little turn to it, and then it just stabilizes, and it's just all the components are playing with each other. And it's so fucking cool. One of the criticisms that I saw for the series is that, well, I didn't see a whole lot of people from the first season and the second.
That makes no sense.
First of all, this was a show designed where 455 people were going to die. That's the whole point of the goddamn show. 455 people are going to die. This show is going to have minimum, because there was more than that, minimum 455 fucking people are going to fucking die. Right? Because we had the doctor situation where we lost a couple guards. The old man dies at the end. So there's even more than the scheduled 455 that die. But it's minimal. Everyone here is going to fucking die. So I heard that criticism before season 2 and I went, I don't know how good a criticism that is.
Yeah, but it's confusing because so far, if I'm not mistaken, everyone that did actually live, and even one we thought was dead.
Yeah.
Is there.
Exactly. That's what I was going to next. Because I saw the younger brother was shot, falls off a cliff, but then we open season 2 when he's alive, and now we're joining those two together, and as the season progresses, I'm not going to spoil anything. We're going to see more familiar faces. So it's like, I don't really think you saw the show then if you thought nobody came back, because there's a few faces here of people that came back. And even they got used in very, very different roles in different ways. There were old characters, but they were used in new ways, which was really, really cool. What I think you and Nora are going to get a kick out of are the new games. I can't wait for you to see the new fucking games, because they're the kind of games where you have to pause it for a second. You do. You pause it and you look at the person you're watching this with and go, shit, what's the strategy here? Like, what do you... It's like, what do you... How do we do that? Like, how do you want to attack that? Like, how do you even want to... Like, it's so fucking cool. And I want to point out, before we end this, to also remember, there's a lot of the games that are being played in this were actual games in Korea. So the plate's excessive, right? But they had a very similar game with walking a path and deciding which way was the right path. The tug of war deal where it's multiple people. They not only do they debut the game, but there's usually a character that kind of gives you some sort of a story where it's like, oh, I used to play this when I was a kid. It's this. Like what was that, Dong, which is the cookie? The wafer with the shape in it. Like, those are real fucking things. Like, you could buy them. So it's like, these are real fucking things, which is insane. That's why when we did the Squid Games experience, we were like, some of this stuff is like really, really fucking cool, because you can actually go in and do the marbles, and you can do the platform deal, which I crushed, by the way. I didn't fail a single goddamn game, not for nothing. I was waiting for the red light, green light. the red light. Nigga, don't move a muscle, son. And so there's different aspects to that stuff. It's such a good fucking show. It's not getting the acclaim that the first season did, but then again, I didn't think it was going to. When something is fresh and new, it's fresh and new. There's nothing really that you can fucking, you can't recreate first time magic, first impressions, but it's still a really, really good show. And I'm not spoiling, but let me tell you the story of what happened with this. So Netflix ordered 10 episodes for the first season. So they went and they wrote for 10 episodes. So the second time, apparently, there wasn't really a set number to the episode. They were just like, hey, we'd really like to do a season 2, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. So they wrote it out. They wrote their script. They wrote their screenplay. They figured out how this was going to look. And they just started fucking filming. And they got everybody together. They did what they were supposed to do. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, Netflix goes, hey, we're going to need, what was it? Did they do 9 episodes this time? I think they did like 9 episodes or 10 episodes or whatever it was they ordered. And when they looked at what they had filmed, they realized, oh, fuck, I got like 14 or 15 episodes here. Like if we really, remember what you were saying about Arcane, about how just letting shit breathe out and kind of getting the story along? He's like, if we do this the right way, the way that we want to, there's a ton of episodes here. Because they're like, so they went to Netflix and they were like, do you want us to like keep that as one season? Do you want us to split this? Like, how do you want to go about this? So what they ended up doing is what we got on season 2 is half of what they filmed. Season 3 is the other half.
So did they in that moment decide to do a season 3?
Yes.
Season 3 always?
No, everything they filmed was supposed to be season 2, but Netflix was like, "This is too much. We don't need all that. We need somewhere in the middle, something like less." And they were like, "All right, well, I mean, did you want a season 3?" And they were like, "Fuck, if you've got a season 3, we'll take it." So they said, "Okay, so how about we do this? We'll do this many episodes for season 2." And then we'll release at a later date the other half. And they said, perfect, season 2. Then technically season 2 and season 3 is already in the can. They're like, sure. Because remember, it took like 3 years, 4 years. How long has it been since Squid Games happened? It was a long time ago. And now we have a season 2. So the producers, when this season dropped, they were like, look, listen, I know you guys are going to start asking us soon, when's the next season? Don't worry about it. It's done. We already got it. So Netflix was like, all right, we dropped season 2 on Christmas, right? Let's hit him with the Avenger move. We'll release the next episode next Christmas. We'll give him a year before we release the 3rd season. And the producers of the show went, nah, that's too long. These people want to see it, bro. I'm thinking summer release. So they're like, oh, okay. So we might, if left up to the producers, we might get the other half of this story in the summer as opposed to later, which I'm all for. I don't need.
So it ends in a to
be continued.
That sucks.
No. I mean, as far as it being a cliffhanger, yes, but you better fucking you wait till you get to that point. I'm telling you, it's so fucking good. It is so fucking good. So that's what we're talking about here as far as Squid Games, man. They really did a really job fleshing things out. They really did a really good job making these characters much more enjoyable. And I'll give you a hint. I'm going to give you something to watch out for. Pay attention to this individual. The man with the purple hair. That's all I'm going to say. The man with the purple hair. Keep your eyes on that guy. He's a crafty one. So we are going to go ahead and take a timeout. A pause for the cause, so to speak, do a little quick commercial action, and then we'll be back with our 3rd segment. This is your boy ajorsini here to remind you guys that if you took the time right now to look around your home, look in the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, the living room, all of the areas within your home, if you look around, I can promise you, you do not have enough OUM merch in your house. This is scientifically proven. I know for a fact you do not have enough. Even if you're listening to this and you already have a few, you do not have enough. But that's okay. We can solve that problem very simply. All you need to do is head over to ajoum.com. That is it. It is ajoum.com. And you can get yourself some AJ Orsini Deceive Dave Orsini's Uncensored Mind merch. We've got t-shirts. We've got socks and pants and sweaters. We've got decor for the home. You want some sheets for your bed with AJ Orsini? We got them. You want some to cover up your windows? We got them. You want some dishware? We got them. Head over to ajoum.com for more merch goodness.
It's time for segment 3.
Segment 3 takes me to the land of the rising sun, and I gotta tell you, I've never been happier. I've never been prouder to be in the wrestling business than I am right now. Did you see my note for this one?
I looked at it.
Okay. Let me set the scene for you here. Let me let you folks out there know what's going on and why I'm on my high horse. For the record, before I say what I'm about to say, AJ, you're not really going to bash AEW again, are you? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I'm going to drag my career into the mud right now. I don't give a fuck. So let's get over to... I'll tell you this. I'll give as much of a fuck about AEW that Chris Charlton has. How about that? Chris Charlton is my hero. He is the man I aspired to be. That level of petty ain't been seen since like Genghis Khan times. Like this goes way back. This dude is legendary, Division I level petty, and I'm here for it. To be honest with you, so Chris Charlton is a professional wrestling commentator. This man calls matches as a professional, for a living. He is of British descent. He lives in the UK. Why does that matter? Follow along with me, if you will. So, New Japan had their annual Wrestle Kingdom weekend. They used to do Wrestle Kingdoms Night 1 and Night 2. That's where WrestleMania got their fucking idea from, was when Wrestle Kingdom did it. But this year, instead of Night 1 and Night 2, they had Wrestle Kingdom on the... I want to see the 4th or 5th or some shit like that. And the very next night, they had Wrestle Dynasty, which was a joint show. It was New Japan, AEW, AAA, maybe, or CMLL, one of those Mexican companies. It was a couple of companies all together that threw talent on the card and had this big event at the Tokyo Dome, right? So we got all these mixed matches as far as like interbrand, interpromotional matches. And Kenny Omega, after 13 months on the shelf, suffering from diverticulitis, returns to the ring to compete against Gabe Kidd, which is a New Japan standout, not a Japanese wrestler. Another guy did, another white guy, just like Kenny. And they went out there and they had a spectacular match. It was almost like Kenny never left. He was in there in Japan mode. I sent you the clip. He changed his music.
Yeah.
Music is trash. I appreciate the fact that he's a Final Fantasy fan, the way that he is. And I appreciate the fact that he loves their music. Trash theme for him for wrestling. It's
really bad.
So bad. And so they have a killer match though. He's still dope.
It's a good Final Fantasy song. Not good for that.
Yeah, not good for what he's using it for. Yeah, exactly. It's dope for a final boss in Final Fantasy, but it's not him. It's not for him. And so they had a pretty good match. They had a really good match. But right at almost the beginning of it, as a matter of fact, hold on 1 second. Because right at the beginning of the goddamn match is when this guy fucking goes off the goddamn rails. Let me see if I can find 50...
Sickening.
Hold on.
To say that he is Japanese professional wrestling is sickening. He is an indelible, iconic part of it, yes. But he is not bigger than this.
Uh-huh.
And that's the message that Gabe Kidd has been sending, Chris. This idea of, well, if you are pro wrestling in Japan, Kenny Omega, you never would have left.
Ooh, never would have left.
And that is what Gabe Kidd has forever held against the cleaner.
But the flip side of that, Kenny opened the door for so many. That is the truth. Kenny put New Japan Pro Wrestling on the map internationally. That is true. The Bullet Club, the Young Bucks, all these guys that started AEW were very much a part of why New Japan Pro Wrestling grew so much.
Well, no doubt about it. And in Gabe's mind, well, it was grow, and then it was take. And well, as soon as we have a money mark to take away some of those talents, well then off they go. Escape. Off goes Jay White, Will Ospreay. Can't escape cover.
And it's only 2.
Off goes Kazuchika Okada. And what
Oh, he ain't stopping. He doubled down.
Yeah, he's doubling down.
Deeper than that.
It's deeper than that.
You all have no idea.
Hey,
you all have no idea. And they cut him off. You heard him? Well, let's focus on the match. He didn't just call him a money mark. He went off. This dude,
told you why.
This motherfucker had a song to sing, and he was going to sing it. He gave examples. My man kept receipts. He's just like, Ospreay, Omega, you name them. They were all here.
Hell, bro.
They said, you need to stop. He said, oh, yeah, New Japan was doing great. Then here comes a money mark to come along and just buy all this shit up. I was like, Daddy, chill. Oh, my God. What's happening here? So that was the comments made by Chris Charlton on commentary.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
Well, the problem is this. The owner of AEW, Tony Khan.
Oh, God.
He is not happy. He was.
Why?
He was upset. He felt disrespected. So he contacted New Japan and said, hey, this guy's going off the grid here. This guy's talking some serious caca. I can't let this guy just fucking disrespect me like that. That's bullshit. And they said, okay, I guess we could punish him for something, I guess. And they suspended him. He is now suspended.
This is a joint event.
This is a joint event. This isn't like a New Japan show.
Also, this dude really about that. My man was sitting in the back and he was talking.
He went to Tony. He was on a Tony Khan promoted show and said, fuck Tony Khan.
I respect this.
I
don't know him. I don't know him, but I need to meet him and tell him how I respect, appreciate, and look up to his gangster.
I told this is my new hero. Because when I found the article about the suspension, right, I wrote in the comments, I said, imagine being in trouble for saying that the sky is blue. Now, I know that he's probably not supposed to say that on the air, and I get that there's levels to professionalism when you're doing the actual show. This wasn't like a podcast or his own his own personal social media post or something like that. It's a live show, not just a live show, but it's a show that Tony's co-promoting. This is a Tony Khan production
money Mark
here.
Is paying for?
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where we give him all the respect in the world for his timing, but his timing is what kind of did him in. If it was just a New Japan show, that might have flown. I mean, maybe not because they have a working relationship together, but it would have been a lot better of a case, I guess.
Been more of a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, because in all honesty, Tony Khan can bitch all he wants. He's a New Japan employee, so they'll do what they see fit. I think where it really hurts New Japan is the fact that he did it on that specific show. If he does that 24 hours prior at Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know if he gets suspended. He might get a talking to, he might get a fine or something like that. Hey, take it easy. Don't go out there and go fucking rogue like that. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. But because it was on that show, maybe it required some sort of mediation, some sort of action. But let's go to his comment for a second. Because the motherfucker, he's in trouble, but he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. He's not wrong on 2 occasions. When he called him a money mark, straight up, have I not been saying that this entire time on this show? Money mark.
Look at you trying to double down.
No, I'm not even trying to raise his flag. He's raising the flag. I just got his back. Okay, well, haven't we been saying this from the beginning? It's toys, right? He's playing with live action figures. That's what we've been saying this whole time. We've been saying it. Other people have been saying it online. The AEW fan base does not agree with that, but you know what? The more people that say it, you start to see that that's the perception.
I mean, the person that works for him said it.
Because that's the perception. That's how everybody sees him. But there's two groups. The people like Chris and myself who don't want Tony Khan's money, have no need for Tony Khan's money, and has no desire to work in his company, so we're free to say whatever it is that we feel as an opinion. And then there are those who knows that he's a money mark, who knows that he's an idiot when it comes to this business, but they're not going to tell him that, because if don't tell the idiot he's an idiot as long as the idiot keeps paying to be told that he's not. He's paying money to these people, and they're going to take the fucking money. For as long as that check keeps clearing, he's the best boss I've ever had.
Him. Get the bag. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. Just don't get don't bark up my tree because I'm not on the same train with you. I'm not hating on you. Take this money mark for what he's good for. Handing out money. Go ahead and do it. But I'm going to call him what I'm going to call him. God damn it, so is Chris. I don't have the platform to curse him out. Chris was on Tony Khan paid this man to insult him.
So, yeah, if you look at it that way, yeah, it's one way to look
that
at it.
That is fucking amazing. And that was the money mark portion, right? The double down made it worse because wasn't a single lie told. That AEW, its roots, its foundation, its whole point of existence was off of the success, off of the foundation of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is a complete 100% fact. That can't be debated. Kenny being an EVP, the Young Bucks being an EVP, Cody, while being considered a WWE guy at the time, was working with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They were all overseas working those shows when they came to the States and basically raped and violated the original version of Ring of Honor into getting them to do an all-out pay-per-view, an all-in pay-per-view, which was success, and then they banked that into bankrolling the idea of doing AEW. If they don't have when they did the All Out show or All In, it was now it's All Out, but with the first show before they were even AEW, when they just did that one pay-per-view at All In, that show does not happen without Ring of Honor's cooperation. It does not happen with New Japan's involvement. Because New Japan, Okada was on that show. Kenny was contracted. He was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion at the time of that show. So New Japan had a heavy hand in helping AEW get started in the first place, which is why I believe they still have a relationship today. But you can't argue the fact that the minute AEW got solidified, and they became a regular recurring thing, they have robbed and pillaged every resource from New Japan. That was the whole point of Forbidden Door, was to get their fan base attached to the New Japan talent and then eventually buy them out. He was naming names. Leave Kenny out of the equation for just a second, but Ospreay, Okada, they've had Tanahashi there. They've had so many talents come to America to be on AEW programming, which helped their programming. But whenever AEW sends a talent to New Japan, it doesn't help New Japan. Moxley doesn't help New Japan in any way. Jack Perry does not help New Japan in any way. But Okada, Tanahashi, Tetsu Naito, Ibushi, all those guys helped AEW. This is a one-sided relationship. It's been that way since the beginning.
Yeah, but then why don't they back out?
Because New Japan, I don't know if they're still under the impression, but at one point New Japan was so hot that it was completely 100% plausible that they would be able to break ground here in the States. They were working with a television network here to broadcast New Japan programming. I forgot which one it was. It wasn't a highly named network, like an HGTV style kind of fucking network, but it aired American commentary on a New Japan product. They were doing New Japan shows in the States. They were doing small little tours in Dallas, in California, in Florida, and in New York. Some of my friends got an opportunity to perform on those shows, try to get tryouts, trying to get looks. They had temporary dojos set up in the States. They were trying to get a foothold here. And WWE is not going to, I mean, they'll work with you, but they're not going to let you just come in and set up shop any more than if WWE...
They didn't check in?
No, well, see, I was just going to say, any more than WWE can do in Japan, because WWE has tried doing stuff in Japan as well, and New Japan wouldn't have it. So
it's such a stupid, like, those two would dominate the world if they just worked together.
Yes,
I don't understand why they refuse to
because
do
the
it.
problem is that both companies feel like they can dominate the world without the other. I don't need them to dominate the world. I already dominate the world. In their minds, both of them, they are already on top. To them, working with the other person is doing them a favor, as opposed to AEW, which is why I think New Japan ended up working with AEW, because New Japan, with WWE, you can have an argument based on longevity as to who is the more dominant company. You can have an argument between the two. You can't really argue between AEW and New Japan, because AEW is only 5, maybe 6 years old at this point. It's still in its infantile stage. New Japan is very much clearly the better promotion with a better foundation, better structure, longevity, the whole shebang. They have everything in place. So there's absolutely, you would think New Japan would be the more dominant presence in this conversation, in this relationship. But as it turns out, as this guy very easily just illustrated, it turns out the guy with the fucking money has been dominating the conversation. The guy who really, really wants to play with all the toys is the one dominating the conversation. So we're seeing a different side of it. But the fact that this is all known, nothing that I've said here is anything groundbreaking or breaking any news. If you go on the internet long enough, you'll find out all of it. This guy said it on the fucking program. For the world to fucking hear. Not just, he wasn't even an innuendo. He straight up called him a money mark, which I've used that term several times now. For those of you out there who don't know what a money mark is and why it's so insulting to Tony Khan, because a money mark is a gentleman or a female in some cases who has money for whatever reason. Either it be through occupation, social security check, I don't know, you won the fucking lottery, who gives a shit? You have a lot of disposable income, and you happen to like wrestling, so you start a promotion, but you don't know how to run it, who to have run it for you, who to hire, who to wrestle for you, where you should wrestle. You don't have a clue how to do any of this, but you're paying, right? So what a money mark tends to do is they'll pay for someone to come in and put all the pieces together, but because they're paying, they have final say. Which is why I personally have tried to stay away from money marks for a long time, with the exception of one time, and I learned from that one time and I never fucking did it again, because that's the headache that comes with the money mark. He doesn't know anything about the business, but wants to play along, wants to be a part of the process, wants to have a say, wants to have decision-making power, which you really can't tell them no, because they're the fucking money mark. They have the money, they're paying, they're funding everything, so you can't really tell them no. But they're unaware that they're fucking up their own business by being involved. He's not just some guy who wants to play with his toys. He's going the extra mile. He's playing with the toys on live television and making all the decisions behind the scenes as to what the toys will do, even if he's not around. He's taking careers into his own hands and fucking playing with it. And this motherfucker done had it. He was going to speak his truth, and that's it. So
do they have known beef?
Huh?
Do they have known beef, or did he just had enough?
No,
I had enough moments.
In my experience, what happens with that is that I feel, and this is just an opinion, I haven't heard anything, but I've seen this situation happen before. So what ends up happening is that usually whenever people start throwing around the words money mark like that in a negative fashion, something happened behind the scenes where there was something good that the real promoter was trying to do, and the money mark just wasn't going for it. He wasn't happy with it. So now he starts vetoing shit that he shouldn't be vetoing, and it causes a lot of confusion and it causes a lot of problems. As an example, the Young Bucks won the IWGP Tag Team titles on that show.
I think that was it.
And I know for a fact that rubbed people the wrong way. I'll leave it at that. So there's stuff happening behind the scenes. You can tell that it must have been a really heated time to be in the back because he didn't pull that shit out of nowhere. I have a feeling that before air, when they were going over the show, everybody had the meeting, and there's a meeting that happens when before you do any show. There's always a meeting that happens between the promoter, the booker, people who are involved with the creative in whatever way. They all have a meeting where they air everything out. Everything gets out in the open. Here's what I think we should do. Here's the plan. And if that meeting goes to shit, then everybody, when they leave that meeting, goes to the show with the shittiest attitude. He waited. Because Kenny and Gabe were not the first match. He sat on that. And he waited for the match he knew everybody was going to watch, which was the Kenny match. And he spoke his truth, okay? Now, he's suspended for it, but here's the deal. I don't think before this situation, I even really knew who he was. I've heard the name, but, I didn't even know what he looked like. You know what I mean? Like, you hear that, you see rumblings, you see things online. I don't really know him per se.
Right.
If I'm a promoter, a legit one, that's the kind of guy I want on my goddamn staff. Not for nothing.
Not really.
I mean, the only real issue, and I was honest with it, is that he chose to do it on a show that was co-promoted. That's going into business for yourself. And I'm not advocating that I want my commentator to go out there and start shitting on co-promoters. But I want a guy in the foxhole with me when we were in the back, when the money mark is doing his thing, to be able to stand on his own 2 feet and look at that money mark and go, this is wrong. And you know that this is wrong, right?
Yeah, but what he did doesn't say that that's the way he was. For all we know, he was quiet the whole time and went out there and did that.
Well, if he was quiet the whole time and had no feedback at all whatsoever, then yeah, he's a bitch.
For all we know, he sat there quietly rolling his eyes in the back and then got really upset and got emotional.
And then he held that.
And did the job wrong live,
yeah,
which makes him extremely not professional. So
no, but
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
You want someone on your team with balls who's got the balls to talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
But see, this is why I say that I want a guy like that, because you see something like that he just did right there. That was I'm going to sit here and tell you that was bad. That wasn't the way to handle that. But no, I like where his head's at. I like where his head's at. You just got to reel him in and teach him the ropes, teach him how to do this. Like there's situations. Yeah. Right, buddy? Even if we're in the meeting in the back and Tony's there and we're having the group meeting, I may not even want you to do it then because everyone's there. It's a high tense situation because we're about to run the Tokyo Dome, which is not sold out, by the way. I think they said they had something around like 24,000 people or whatever. That building seats like 80 or 90,000. So it's all lower bowl activity, So already we're looking at a bad number here. So it's a high pressure situation. I may not even want in that situation for that to happen, but I want a guy next to me who's not going to be a fucking mark. Who's not going to sit here and look at and just go, well, Tony said we should do this, or Tony. Well, fuck Tony. What do you think? Like, let's talk real wrestling, bro. Like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to what Tony Khan wants. Like, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like that rubber band, that back and forth type of shit. He sounds like he's one of those guys, but he's also, like I said, I say it again for the record. What he did was kind of, inappropriate. I get it. I don't know how many times I've been pissed at a show about some shit where I knew for a fact that this was fucked up. It really shouldn't be like this. And I had to call the whole fucking show with that in my head. I didn't go on commentary during the main event and shit on the guy that pissed me off. but we had the conversation at some point. We didn't even have it at the show. But we
I want somebody on my team who's not going to fuck the bag up. That's basically where it
and this guy put himself in that position. But I want a guy with me who's going to be able to look at the situation and be fucking honest about this and be like, look, this is bullshit. Why? Like you said, when we just went over the relationship status between the two, even you said, so why are they even dealing with it? That's the kind of shit that I could see him saying in the meeting. We're just like, why are we doing this? Why are we... Okay, we're trying to book a co-promoted show. We got Luchadors opening up the show. We've got Gaijin versus New Japan Talent. We're all over the map here. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, I want one of those where it's just like, let's bring this back to planet Earth. Like, what's happening here right now? So, yeah, we got to rein that shit in. I mean, I don't want you doing that shit in my program. But, yeah, I want a guy next to me who's just going to be like, this is bullshit. I've had that guy. It's a good guy to have.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
right,
when it's done right, yeah, exactly. I'm just looking him up now. Apparently, he's 41 years of age. So he's been doing, and I'm looking at his resume.
He got no fucks.
He's got no fucks to give, and he's been doing this for a fucking minute. So it's like, I could say, in all honesty, he probably sat there and was just like, listen, what are they going to do? Fire me? I'm already fired. That's it. He pulled a Ric Flair. What you going to do? Yeah, I said it. The fuck you going to do about it? So, yeah. So, this dude is my hero. I'm sticking to that. This dude went out there and just said his fucking truth, and I'm with it. I
respect the game.
Respect 10 toes down.
I respect the game, man.
From this guy. I love this guy. So we're getting into our next segment here.
Segment 4 is finally here.
Segment 4 is indeed finally here, and did you see it? Did you see it? The debut of the masked luchador that Chad Gable overnight, out of the blue,
had trouble with luchador.
Yeah, just grew a disdain, a pure outright hatred for luchadors, just out of nowhere. And now we have the debut of Penta. He is in the house. He's here. He's in the WWE. We just did a whole thing on AEW's foundation and the way that they do their business. I'm going to bridge that here. Fuck AEW for being a fucking bold-faced liar, a two-faced, no-good son of a gun, because they kept telling me that they wanted to be different from WWE. And in the end, when the business really hit, they found out it's all the same shit. So Penta debuted in the WWE, but for the record, it was supposed to be the Lucha Bros.
Where's my guy?
Rey Fénix. Yes,
that's my guy.
So here's the deal with that. It was supposed to be the Lucha Bros. Matter of fact, the original plan, if I'm not mistaken, it was going to be the Lucha Bros against the New Day. But that's neither here nor there, right? Rey Fénix in AEW, they were the Lucha Bros together. Rey Fénix and Penta, they're actual real-life brothers. And Rey had a few injuries in AEW. That happens a lot in AEW. He went over the top rope and pile drove himself to the floor.
Yeah, he killed himself a lot.
Yeah, broke his arm a couple times. He died many, many times. Overall, he spent a large chunk of his contract not in the ring because of his injuries.
Yeah.
Normally in wrestling, contractually, whenever that happens, they have what's called a health timeout. So the contract freezes.
Cutting you off, buddy.
Yeah, the contract freezes from the point of injury to the point of return. So if you have let's say you got 24 months left in your contract, about 2 years, right? And you get hurt, break a leg or some shit. You're out 8 months. All right? That contract does not go from 24 to 16. It's still at 24. So when you start performing again, that's when the 2 years pick up.
Are you slow walking me to the fact that he's stuck in AEW for a little bit longer?
No, but see, here's the thing. Vince used to use that loophole all the time. All the time. He would just hold motherfuckers hostage in the company. No, you're going to work for me for the exact term you said you would, and blah, blah, blah. Tony and a lot of people from AEW would look at that and they would go, bullshit, what a fucked up thing to do. He couldn't help that his leg was broken and da-da-da-da-da. You should let him go. So now it's AEW's turn to do the right thing. And you know what they did? They heard Penta and Rey Fenix were going to leave and go to WWE, which at the time of conversation was rarely ever done. You know why? Because a lot of AEW talent isn't being asked to go to WWE. But in this case, they were asked. They were being looked into, and AEW said, well, we can't do anything with Penta. His contract's coming up, and he's fulfilled his agreement. But Rey has not.
Not going nowhere, buddy.
Rey is not. So if you're going to rob us of talent, we'll give you Penta, but you ain't taking the Lucha Bros. So they kept his ass under contract. He can't even negotiate with WWE at this point. Then to make it worse, they got pissed that they even negotiated with WWE, and now they've iced him. He's at home. They're counting the days. They're saying, no. The clock is ticking on your contract. It'll go up when it goes up, but you're not going to be on our television. We're not going to help you promote WWE on our TV.
So they're punishing him?
So they're punishing him. So he's at home. So Penta made his big debut.
He'll be nice and rested when he comes back.
Yeah. And Penta makes the big debut here on Monday Night Raw. Can I say this out loud? I know that because there was a lot of hate online because there was a match announced for Netflix last week with the debut where it was supposed to be Rey Mysterio and a mystery partner against the New Day, and the match got scrapped altogether. There was a rumor that was supposed to be Penta's debut, Penta and Rey Mysterio against the New Day, but the match got scrapped. That's when they came up with the last-minute idea that Chad Gable all of a sudden hates Mexican wrestlers.
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
Said,
he went racist for the company.
Yeah. I could be a douchebag white guy for a couple minutes to set up next week. Sure, let's go. So he did that, and they set up the match for this week, and I got to say, I like this idea way better than I like the tag match. Because I'm a big Chad Gable guy. Gable guy. I will die on this hill. He's top 5, one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth. I'll put Chad Gable anywhere, on any.
I won't disagree with that. That man can work.
He can fucking work.
I think he's stuck in a weird gimmick right now that he has to work through, but he's making that gimmick work.
No, but yeah, I was gonna say, he's making that shit work. This motherfucker survived.
Which is proving more to your point.
Yeah,
he's gonna be big. He's got a pretty good career coming up if he keeps it up.
Yeah,
he's earning his spot.
He is so good. He's in great shape. He's got to me, in my opinion, he's got the right stable around him now. These are much more serious athletes. In this current situation with American Made, he's kind of become a lot more serious. They still do the jokey comedy stuff like they did with the luchador thing. You know, the luchadors are losers or whatever it was he said. He's still kind of nonchalant funny, but he's not doing the goofy dances and all that other stuff he was doing before. So we're taking him more seriously. I didn't notice until this show that the American Made theme is a remix of Kurt Angle's. I didn't realize that. Because they made, I didn't, you know why?
They're trying to sublime you.
Yeah, well, you know why I figured it out? The fans figured it out because they started doing the "You Suck" chants.
You're like, oh, this works.
Yeah, it fit. Right, exactly. It fit. So we were like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. It was a "You Suck." So you saw the debut. I already said before he debuted, I loved his AEW theme so much. I knew whatever they were going to give him wasn't going to live up. I liked the entrance. There was a lot of care put into the entrance, especially with the fire and the look. It was a whole cool look. I'm not really sold on the theme. I didn't really like the theme too much. I don't know if I'm being a dickhead about that.
So is this their way of like slowly chipping away at the tag team situation?
What do you mean?
That's what it looks like. I mean, they're
with the Lucha Bros
trying to slowly build on having an actual competitive tag team division.
I think
why else would you bring the Lucha Bros? They're coming.
Yeah, well,
we're gonna wait.
This is also, they definitely want to bring in Rey Fenix, but this is also on the heels of them getting the guns. So like, I think we're past
LTR.
I think we're past the point of taking two random stars and making them a team. as opposed to going out and just getting established teams.
Think of the stories we can run with some tag team. Like tag team would be good. I don't dislike tag team, but tag team gets a bad rap when like you said, you do a mashup with people just to drive some type of storyline, or you end up having to do I wouldn't mind a 4-on-4 when 2 and 2 of each one is an actual tag team. Every once in a while, I wouldn't mind, but when it's just a cluster, a menagerie of different wrestlers, I'm not following anything. You know what I mean? There's no canon here. This isn't gonna bleed into next week. It is what it is.
Would it be too much to ask for something like Lucha Bros versus the Guns at SummerSlam? Like, how fucking insane would that be? Or DIY.
There's not enough time, though.
No. There's not enough time at all. But I'm just saying, with all of the influx of talent from the outside coming in, we're getting new matchups here. DIY and the Lucha Bros. You can do individual stuff. Penta and Ray.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different opportunities to do some crazy, and they're not done looking. Not only are they finally bringing in some of the more established indie talent, but their NXT system has guys coming up now, where it's just like, holy fuck.
We need to do, and it's got me thinking, but we really do need to do a recap on towards Mania of a recap on some of the storylines where they took some people. I want to do something on Cody Rhodes and his run. I want to do something on Chad Gable. He's one I really want to talk about because at the start of the year they kind of put him in a hole, and I ain't gonna hold you.
He wrestled his way out of it.
He
wrestled his way out of it. This motherfucker used to be Shorty G, and he's still here doing shit.
Bro,
I'm telling you, man.
They're doing good. There's some goods and there's some bads, and I would love to make it like a seasonal recap thing, maybe.
Well, first and foremost, we're beating around the bush. The match itself. What did you think of the match between Penta and Chad Gable?
It was good. It was nice to see him. I'm assuming he's never was he one of those people that just kind of never wanted to go to the WD? You got to give me some, because I know it's a big deal that he's there.
Right. So I don't think it was a situation of him never wanting to go. I especially after the promo he shot on Monday, he's been trying to get here for forever. The problem with both the Lucha Bros and WWE is the people who were running it at the time. You have to think about the style of things. Penta and Ray aren't what you would call traditional mat workers.
Right.
They love the art of improvisation, and they'll do shit to you. You don't know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? They just, when they get into a match and they're feeling it and they're flowing with it, shit happens. And between Ray killing himself and Penta's had injuries, they had a reputation for a while of either getting hurt a lot or hurting other people. So there was a long time where, especially when they were in Mexico, where they were probably one of the hottest teams on planet Earth, and they just couldn't get a look anywhere. And then Penta, I believe, took the first really big leap by going to the big breakout for Penta and Ray Phoenix was Lucha Underground. That was where they got their first really big national stage look, and that company wasn't ran by wrestling people. So they just let the wrestlers do whatever it is they wanted to do, and they were just smoking through people in matches. They were just fucking doing incredible shit. Nobody was telling them what yes or no. They were just going through the ringer with people, and that caught the eye of some other promotions. And then Penta would eventually go to TNA, where he actually became their champion. And Ray joined them, and then they both got signed to AEW. We know what happened there. And then now to the WWE. I'll give the WWE credit as well. During Penta's match, Michael Cole was saying that, yes, Penta is a world travel performer. He's a former heavyweight champion. This man was the former TNA heavyweight champion. He was a 2-time Lucha Underground champion. He was naming all his whole resume
Yeah, he was he was doing his job and introducing him to the new fans.
That is his job. But you know what? There was a lot of times in the past where they weren't allowed to do that. You just had to be very vague. Where it's just like, yeah, they've traveled all around the world. They've faced against some of the biggest competition, but now they're here in the WWE in the big time. You know what I'm saying? So like they would be very, very vague. I remember the first time I heard them break that was when AJ Styles debuted. When he debuted, they said he was a former IWGP heavyweight champion in Japan, and I went, oh my God, you can say that on television?
Yeah. You're allowed.
This time they said almost the whole resume. They obviously left out AEW, but that's WWE right now has a working relationship with TNA. They have a working relationship with AAA. So they're not going to talk about Penta's CMLL stuff. They're not going to talk about AEW. They're going to talk about who they work with and what they've accomplished. So they did a really good job of making him seem like a big deal. And then Chad Gable went out there and just said, "Listen, kid, follow me. I got you. I'm going to get all your shit over.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
We're about to make some magic."
So I only have 2 criticisms of that match. And my wife, who was vomiting sick mess the other day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. Just really quickly. Alex was sick on Saturday. We had to take him to the emergency room. He was really, 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 really bad. And when we were there, she was hugging him a lot. And I said, you're next now because of that. And she was like, I know.
She didn't give a fuck.
So, yeah, baby's in need of care, so she was there. But Monday, no good, right? So she's sitting here just looking gray. She's got one eye open. And she's got a vitamin water bottle filled with nutrients and Pedialyte and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And she's sitting there watching the TV, and through her gravelly voice, we're watching the match. And Penta hit the Destroyer, Mexican Destroyer, boom, flipping pile driver, bam, on Monday Night Raw, and the crowd went fucking ballistic. 1-2 kick out, and she goes, ugh, that should have been it. That was perfect. I said, I know, that was so good. And then they started doing more stuff, and now we're like, oh no, we're getting into overtime here. This is starting to drag. Come on, baby. And then they set up Penta's arm break move. I forgot what it's called, but it's a thing where he sits the guy on the side, he pulls the arm back, and he snaps it like he's going to break the arm. You got to save that. That's an injury angle. I mean, you got to put that move over. You can't win matches with that. You got to put people in ambulances with that. You can't. I'm dead serious because they did it at Lucha. That's how it worked in Lucha Underground. When he used that move, if he lost, if you beat him, he would jump you and he'd put you in that move and he'd break your fucking arm. He got it over as a really serious thing. He was putting out women with that fucking move. Like, everyone's on the internet right now. They're like, oh my God, Penta's in WWE right now. That means we have a chance to get Penta and EL Sky in a rematch. It's not going to happen. But that was like the big match in Lucha Underground. EL Sky and Penta fucking murdered each other. They murdered each other.
They had an actual match?
They had a full fucking match. They beat the teetotal shit out of each other. When you get a chance, you get free time.
How was that not talked about more?
It was talked about all over the fucking internet when it happened, but this was years ago, like before the pandemic. This was Lucha Underground.
Okay.
So when you get a chance, YouTube that fucking match. It is insane. These two people.
Penta, they'd be stupid not to do that. There's no reason not to do that.
Of course there is. It's a big reason why they don't, and they don't want the guys beating up on the goddamn girls.
Oh, come on.
They're a bigger company. They can't afford to do it. They can't afford to do it. They like it. It's funny because Rhea could beat up Dom, but Dom can't touch Rhea. So that is what I should have pile drove them. So no, yeah. So there's a big deal there. So what was I just talking about with the fucking? Oh, the move. Yeah. So the arm break. I would have waited on that. Chad sold it great, but I mean, he sold it like he was hurt, not like broken. Like that's different. Like you should have. I was making the comparison when I was talking to Steph. Randy Orton's punt kick. Remember the punt kick? When he used to do that thing in the corner and he used to like, start frothing at the mouth and the guy would get on all fours and he would just run and punt that nigga right in the fucking head. Like something like that, like don't do it all the time, but when you do it, that's a gurney. You gotta pull the board out. That's it, done. Put his arm on his side like me, like when I broke my arm. Put the arm on the fucking side and take him out of here. He's a done deal. He's done for the night. Clocked out. That's it. He's finished. And then he finishes Chad with, I forgot what they called it, but I know it as cradle shock. That's a Chris Sabin move where you hook like in a suplex. You do like a driver and sit down with it. 1, 2, 3. I don't like that as a finish because I know Penta is hella strong like bull. This is the guy that Gunther said. You don't like my chops? Don't get hit by Penta. You think Gunther said that. Gunther said you would rather get chopped by me. Don't get chopped by Penta. Because Penta's gonna fuck you up. He's gonna stop your heart, nigga. Like, you're finished. You're done. And so I know he's a tough guy and I know he's strong as hell, but it's the perception of it. He can hit Chad Gable with that. He's not hitting Kane or he's not hitting Omos. He's not hitting big dudes with that move. So I don't know if that's going to be his finish moving forward. I don't even know if the Destroyer is, but if you're going to do something, I'd rather do the Destroyer than that. And I don't even like flip pile drivers, but nobody in WWE does them. So, he's famous for them. So that kind of fits. So I'm like, it's not like I knew he wasn't going to be able to keep the package pile driver. Because if they're not going to let Kevin Owens do it, they're not going to let Penta do it. But then I saw Kevin Owens do it at Saturday Night Main Event, so I thought maybe the door was open, but it doesn't look like it. He went with that driver instead. But I'm like, I don't know if that's the way you want to go, brother. And then
let him work and let him cook.
Let him cook. Let's see.
He's got to change up his style a little bit here. But
oh yeah, which is another beautiful thing because if you notice, he didn't keep up the speed and tempo of a Penta match. He wrestled. They had him wrestle. He still did his shit. He still dove over the top rope, but he sold his leg, right? Chad got him really good on the leg. He was selling the leg. He was slapping on it, trying to get feeling back into it. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. He was doing the whole baby face deal where he was just, come on. He was like trying to get the audience into it. I go off the top rope. And he was wrestling.
Yeah.
Working on that.
I'm already excited for the moment where something is happening and he can't, and he's getting jumped. And then his fucking brother comes out and the place is gonna explode, dude. I can't wait.
Lucha Brothers in the house. I can't fucking wait for it. I was a little nervous at first. I think I said a few episodes back that if the Lucha Bros did come to WWE, it'd be a big mistake because I just didn't know who they would work based on that style. But now that I've seen him mix it up and kind of acclimate to other people's shit, I'm a lot more confident now that this could be really, really good.
But you know what? Everything happens for a reason, dude. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe they just kind of, who knows? Maybe he's going there and getting the feel for us. Like, brother, you got to get up here. It's so much better than we thought it would have been.
Yeah.
Then they're talking to other tag teams, and then we got a chance to bring in some more tag teams before he gets there.
Man.
Next, dude, come on, please, Triple H, make the tag team good. It would be so nice to have tag team division to care about.
That's actually been a criticism of Triple H so far because so far we've had 2 Raws on Netflix, 0 tag matches.
Zero. What, though? It's not there.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not ready yet.
New Day, sure. But, you know what? I would even argue, let's get New Day. I promise you, if we can get New Day some talent, they would be just as good.
It would freshen up New Day.
Yes.
I like the idea of New Day and the Lucha Bros.
The new angle they're kind of going
with the heel deal?
Dude.
Oh, fuck yeah. Babyface Lucha Bros against a heel New Day? Oh my God.
So good.
Yeah.
You see them did so much possibilities, man.
Oh yeah.
They're cooking this year, man. 40 did not let us down, man. I'm telling you. 40 was a launch pad. I'm telling you, we literally got to dedicate an entire episode of a seasonal recap of this shit because there's so much to talk about.
I'm down for it. Hey, do you want to set it up? I'll do it.
Yeah. Towards Mania. We'll have a lot more to talk. Yep. When we get closer to end of season. That's what it's gonna be. And if it works out well,
that's our season finale leading up to WrestleMania.
Season right before WrestleMania, it don't gotta be right before, but somewhere within that time frame, we need to do a whole episode on from 40 to that point, storylines changes, winners, losers, and I think that would be dope.
How about we both do it, compare notes? Because there might be some shit that I thought about that you didn't, and there's some shit you thought about that I didn't.
Oh, no. We definitely need to, like, hey, these are the things I'm looking at, and then we can just make a show out of it.
Okay.
And we can just give and take which ones are. Let's cut this one out. Let's talk. You know what I mean? Or we'll talk like we'll figure it out.
Okay.
We're backstage and live right now.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we got to do it.
We're pulling that curtain back.
The reason why I'm being so adamant about this right now is because of how well they've been doing. They have some else. They do. But it's just been fun to watch this entire year, man. It's been good.
Okay. All right. Let's fucking do it then. All right. So also, since we're talking about it's a little bit of a downturn, but let's get real here. Let's get to our main event segment.
It is now time for our main event.
Our main event today involves little old Corey. Little old Corey Graves. Not happy. Not happy at all.
You or him?
He's not happy.
Oh, okay.
He's not happy at all. And you know what? I kind of feel for him. I actually kind of do feel for him a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. Actually, a little bit.
It does feel bad when the person who thinks they're good at something gets told they're not good at something.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't been told that he's not good at it.
He did. He said he did.
No, he said that
he
said that he was told he was not famous enough for his position. That's different. They're not saying that he's bad at it. They're just saying, we think we'll make more money with the other guys. That's all it is.
Well.
So, I mean, and you know what?
Go ahead. Read the post, but I apologize because I did say that point. It was me who said he wasn't good at it.
I spun my opinion of his performance.
That was projecting. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I projected that.
So what we're talking about with Corey Graves, in case you guys didn't hear, there's been some shaking around again. They did the commentary shake up again. They like, for whatever reason, to each their own, they like Tessitore and Wade Barrett together. They just do.
Tessitore's the new guy, right?
The new guy, yes. And
the sports announcer guy.
Yes.
I love him. I don't know why you hate him, but
I didn't say that I hate him.
You sound like you hate him.
No,
so
it's not hate.
You hate, nigga. Go on.
He's not my cup of tea, right? I get why people like him. It's the same reason why a lot of people like Jackie, the new interviewer. Because did you notice when Jackie was in the ring with Penta, she's going to her earpiece, she's moving her head. She looks like a sideline reporter.
It's an illusion.
It's all part of the play, right? It's all part of it looks like chaos when it looks like she's in a rush. She's let me put my head down. I'm getting word in the back. This is what they want me to ask. Okay. I get why people like her. I get why people like Tessitore. I just, as a wrestling guy myself, it's new to me. I like sports announcers because I've been watching sports my whole life. I like wrestling announcers because I watch wrestling my whole life.
They're two different things.
Yes.
They're two different worlds.
They're two different worlds that require different energies.
I understand.
I consider sports announcing a lot more a lot more eye to eye. This is what's happening. This is the basics. They're just kind of telling the story in front of you. My wrestling commentators, I've always had a lot more energy, showmanship. Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, even Vince to a degree. Even though Vince was over the top, what a maneuver! He was a little much, but that kind of speed. Tessitore just kind of he just tells you what the fuck is happening. There's no real rhyme or reason, or he just calling what he sees. That's it.
But that's what makes him so good. Because I'm going to make the argument that we're very used to the color,
boisterous personalities,
being the focal point, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but they're the superstar of it, right? The color commentary, right? But he's an expert. It feels like at what he does. It feels he brings the analytical part to a higher level. So he's been doing it so long in a different way. He sells it differently and very like you said, like a sportscaster.
Right.
But that's what he's supposed to be calling, is the sport. So he does that part better than everyone else because he's used to calling sport. So it feels legit, like I'm watching a sport. And then you have the person next to him who's going to be color, who's giving you a lot of the stories, who's giving you the feeding you the people who are supposed to be bad or hating on the people who are supposed to be good, and like they're keeping you into the wrestling. And he'll piggyback on some of it, but most of it is to keep you locked in to the ring while also getting the story. I think he just does a good job at doing that.
Well, he also happens to be with a guy in Wade Barrett who's not an over-the-top personality himself.
He's not.
So he has like the right amount of personality for him because he's not overbearing. Yes. So it's like they're able to go back and forth, and you'll hear Wade every now and then. He'll crack a joke, or he'll throw like a one-liner in there. But for the most part, they're
insult
both
him every once in a while.
Yeah, he does. He does. He throws him under the bus a lot. So he does.
Yeah. You're supposed to, though.
I think at one point, this story said something, and Wade leans over and goes, "Next time, say it like you mean it." You know, it's like Jesus Christ. But then you look at the other side of the spectrum now, right? So the other team is
you can't fuck with that team.
Michael Cole and Pat McAfee.
Michael Cole. I love him now. I used to think he was weird.
Michael Cole has had a resurgence with Pat McAfee.
Dude, it's almost as if Pat had made him reborn. It's almost as if like Pat has made him re-love what he does, and you can see it. He's just so much better now.
Can I share an assumption that I made the other day? And this might be right or wrong. I don't know him, Michael Cole, personally, right? But I take Michael Cole as the kind of person who, nerdy might be the wrong word, but kind of an awkward guy. It might have some awkward humor. And sometimes he might be in the room with a bunch of people and he'll say something that he thinks is funny and people just kind of like, oh, okay, like, all right, cool. Pat's the kind of guy that whether you have a personality or not, he will fucking hype you up.
Oh,
like as a person, right? He'd just be like, yo, bro, you're the fucking greatest human being who has
He's
ever
the type
lived.
of guy to get a beer in his hand and be like, bro, I love
he just like,
and you're the guy who knows those guys are losers, like you don't like them, but when he says it to you, you just gotta like feel it a little bit. You know, Pat's
the kind of guy that will look at you and be like, fuck those guys, you're the fucking best. You're the man. Yeah. I feel like
little cocks,
but
you're a cock.
I feel like
you know what? It is pretty big.
Yeah, it's like you're right about that. This a handful's nice. A handful's nice.
It's nice. It's very adequate.
It's really eloquent. Many men have penises, but this one is mine.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Pat.
Michael's relationship with Pat takes me as the kind of person where Michael, for years, has never really felt like a part of the team. And then fit in. And then this guy is. Michael could be as weird and as outlandish and as awkward as he wants to be, and not only does it not make Pat feel weird,
he'll one up him.
He'll one up him. Yeah, he gets weirder and more awkward. So that Michael starts to sound like the sane one, like when Pat gets on the fucking table.
And yeets.
Yeah, he's like, and he keeps telling Michael Cole, "Get up here, Michael, get up here." Well,
he finally did it. Not so long ago.
He finally did it, right? He gets on the table. It was last week on the Raw debut. He does it, and then Pat gets down, and Michael goes, "How do I get down?" And Michael goes, "Be an athlete, Michael." Be an athlete, Michael. Get off the table.
Natural. He was like, dude, how do I get down from here? And he was like, be an athlete. And they just moved on.
This dude, Pat McAfee, was fucking. He was heckling Dom ringside. Did you see this footage where he was heckling Dom ringside? He was saying something, and Dom turned around and goes, "It's part of the strategy, you idiot." And he turned around, and Michael goes to Pat and goes, "What did he just say?" And Pat goes, "I don't know. I don't speak, bitch." I was like, wait, what? This thing is so stupid.
Yo, Pat is the one that asked to hit the blood on fucking Netflix.
He did. He was like, "You got any more of that?" We'll talk later. We'll talk later.
What are we talking about, bro? You can't fuck with that commentary team. And when Pat leaves, it's like it hurts when he goes to do sports, man.
Yeah, it does.
It's not that it gets bad. You just fucking miss.
So now herein lies the problem. We just talked about Tessitore and Wade.
Damn, how insignificant are you that your segment that we're talking about your post and we haven't said shit about him?
No,
yet,
but I'm tying it in right. You're cutting me off. I'm tying it in right now.
No, you don't have to. Fuck this guy. Commentary is good right now.
But
dude.
that's what I'm saying. When you have Tessitore, who has the experience that he has and has the sound that he has, I'm not as big a fan, but I get why he has the fan base. Like he's got him locked in. Yeah. With Wade, they have a very nice relationship.
You're very indifferent with him.
It's neither here nor there. You go to SmackDown, that fucking team is A1. It's unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. That is the most unstoppable team in a long, long fucking time. So that's your two brands. So Corey has been a part of three-man teams in the past. But here's the problem. Corey on Raw would be bad. Because it does fuck with the feng shui between Wade Barrett and Tessitore. I have been very vocal about the fact I have always hated three-man teams. I hate listening to them.
I love the two right now.
I've hated being a part of them. I sat at a table with four guys once, and I wanted to vomit.
Oh, my God, that sounds terrible.
It was horrible. And so...
Super gay.
Adding Corey... Super gay. Not even like a regular amount of gay. This is an extremely large, more than should be allowed amount of gay. But it's with Corey joining the Raw team with Wade and Tessitore, it fucks the feng shui up. It fucks the vibe up. But then you add Corey to Pat and Michael, which they have done in the past, especially for pay-per-views. And it takes away because you can literally hear in the commentary Pat and Michael have the chemistry, and Corey keeps throwing in jabs to try to get some of that on him.
Third wheel, bro.
Yeah.
Third wheel.
It's one of those things where, like, Pat and Michael are talking about something, and then Corey insults Pat for, like, no reason. But he does it so that Pat will fire back and bring it his way. But Pat never stays on him. He eventually goes back to Michael. So Corey's just fucking there. So I get it why they moved it. I think the real issue comes... Corey going back to NXT because, okay, in all honesty, I love Booker T. I don't love him on commentary.
I don't think he was ever bad.
I think he's like serviceable. Where he gets me, okay, I know the fans love it. When he does the Trick Williams thing, it's kind of annoying. And then when he does the shucky, quack, whatever the fuck he tries to get over with that shit. I don't know what that is. That kind of annoys me a little bit. Yeah. Booker T's been doing this for a long time, but he still sounds like a one-year commentator with the sound bites and he does sound bites and sound effects for his commentary. So like the Vic Joseph will be saying something, blah blah, and then you hear Booker T, oh man, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Did you pull a quad muscles thing? What happened? He's like, oh, get him. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's not like a car. Boom. I was like, so he does that. He does and when the thing I'm talking about with Trick, I don't know if you've heard it. Trick Williams' theme, which, by the way, is badass. It's a badass theme with a lot of bass. Boom, boom, boom. And whoa, that Trick. And Booker T does the ad-libs. So the crowd goes, whoa, that Trick. Whoop that Trick. Yeah. He does the ad-libs during the entrance. And I know that there's some people that get into that because it's timed really well. I'm not huge on it, but again, it's seeing it from both sides. I get it. I do believe, I feel Corey's better than Booker. But Booker is over in that spot. So instead of removing one or the other, they just made it a three-man team, and now we're back where we started. So I don't know if that hurts or helps the NXT brand. I'm not sure. But he only did it the one time. So an update to this story now is that he went to Orlando to do NXT this week, and they pulled him from the show. He didn't even go on the air. because now he's causing an issue backstage. He's not happy about what's going on, the demotion, and then we get to the tweet.
Is it a demotion?
It is exactly a demotion. It's developmental, which, by the way, is where he started.
But time out. But hold on.
Okay.
Is it a demotion? You're sitting next to Booker T. Say what you want.
Right. It's a two-time Hall of Famer.
You're sitting next to Booker T. So hold on, because watch your fucking mouth saying shit. To me, that's a negative jab. If I'm Booker T, I'm annoyed. Like, I don't think I'm...
No. I'll disagree with you. I'll disagree with you, and here's why. Booker T's role in the company is to work with developmental. That's why Reality of Wrestling is where it is, his school.
Yeah, then let me develop you, nigga. Shut your mouth.
He did what?
Sit next to me. I said, then let me develop you.
You want him to develop Corey?
Yeah, sit next to me, dummy. This is what I do, and I'll get you back up there when one of them retire.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
you're not grunting enough. That's your issue.
Is good, bro. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, here's the tweet. Let me read the tweet, and then you can continue crushing him.
Yeah, sure.
Corey Graves tweeted at WWE Graves, which, by the way, this was not a tweet and delete. It's still there. Imagine chasing your dream, then being told, all caps, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then, when it's time to enjoy the fruit of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you're wondering where I've been. Okay. So here's the thing with that, with this tweet. Couple things here, because it's not a very long tweet, but it's very telling. The top part. Then being told, not deciding that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. You were not told that.
Daniel Bryan.
There you go. There you go. You were not told you couldn't pursue your dream. You were told you couldn't wrestle in WWE.
And look at him now. Stop it.
He was told he couldn't run. He couldn't have matches in WWE anymore. He decided to stay. You hung the boots up, not them. You could have very easily taken your opportunity to go somewhere and do something else.
Got it. You can still get it right now, actually.
Unless you're telling me your dream was specifically to be a WWE superstar, I feel you, right? I feel you. You get a little bit of a brain injury, and they wanted to play it safe and all of this stuff. Okay, cool. Daniel Bryan had the same fucking situation and was told no, and he did something very similar. He went to the side. He started doing more stuff with Talking Smack, blah, blah, blah. But then he told the boss, if I'm cleared and you're not letting me in the ring, if you don't let me go, I'm going to leave. And they eventually put him in. But he was Daniel Bryan. If you're cleared and you're healthy and they have not moved you back into the ring, that is telling me that they didn't see it.
You can assume, right? You can assume he was cleared because...
By now, he must have. If Daniel Bryan got cleared...
He said not decided, but being told.
Yeah.
Like, we could be wrong here, but I would imagine that's a decision made on company, not medical.
Right. The company made the decision. Now, medical feeds them the information, and I'm sure at the time, when he suffered the injury, it probably wasn't good news, but he's been... out of the ring. We're going on almost 10 years now that he's been out of the ring. So whose decision is that? Is that the company or is that the man in the mirror?
I mean, I'll give him that. That may, let's say 100% it was the company. Maybe they said no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why
go, and that's why you lose me.
Yeah.
Because Daniel Bryan went and got it. He's like, yo. And it wasn't a bluff. I don't for 1 second believe that Daniel Bryan was bluffing and that he just won because they gave in.
Right.
I truly believe
he would have left.
They did not put him in. He's out.
Yeah, he would have left.
I'm gone. Like, this isn't a conversation.
But this is why Corey can't do that, because he's Daniel Bryan. He's going to get the Japan bookings. He's going to get any booking he wants. Corey, I don't know.
I mean,
he's got the name recognition. I'm sure he'd get booked somewhere. TNA, MLW, possibly some AEW work. But the point is that if what was the dream specifically? Was it to be a wrestler, or was it to be a WWE superstar? Because if it was to be a WWE superstar, then yeah, you probably have some sort of a case there because the WWE said you're not going to be able to run matches there. But if you suffered a brain injury, you suffered a brain injury. I don't know what to tell you. They're not wrong in telling someone who had a severe brain situation that you shouldn't be taking bumps. So again, I don't know how that works itself out. The middle part. Then you dedicated your life to something dream adjacent, which I guess I've been there. I know what he's talking about. Transitioning from the ring into a suit and calling matches and being pretty fucking awesome at it. That's where you're going to get some pushback, my guy, because that's pretty fucking subjective as well. If the company's telling you you're great at it, that's one thing. But if they really thought that, you'd be on the show still.
Even then, no, I don't think so.
Even if the company legitimately thought he was really, really good?
Let's say I give him, he is really fucking awesome at commentary.
Right.
Creme de la creme. WWE level commentary. He still gets moved. And this is why I say it's not a demotion. Because he can work at the level, right? So I'm sitting here talking shit on him because I think this is crybaby bullshit.
Okay.
This post is crybaby bullshit. And to be honest with you, it's just annoying. And as a man, you're going to get fucking teased when you cry in front of people. It's just going to fucking happen, all right? But what the deal is, if I'm being completely honest, I think he's not terrible. When Corey Graves talk, I don't cringe all the time or whatever, right? Like, it's not very memorable, but I don't have a memory of him like, oh, get this guy out of here. But at the end of the day, he does perform at a high level. He's on the WWE, he's on the panel, he doesn't suck, and you get moved to NXT. I know it's an ego hit, and it may feel that way, but it's not only are you up against skill, and the only one you can argue the Raw group that maybe that's the one he could have gone, but their chemistry is so good. Like we just spent a few minutes beforehand talking about this and how good it feels to listen to them and that their chemistry is good and they're fairly new together. Just wait till they get some more. Hopefully, if they keep going in the same direction, it's going to be even better. It's one of those just shit timing, bro. Like, they have really good commentary. Go have fun and go have fun at NXT and like fucking. That's something you should look at as an opportunity, not a demotion. You have an opportunity. If you feel like that is beneath you, then guess what? You have the opportunity to make it bigger. You could be the NXT commentary guy they can't let go. And because that may not be exactly what you want, you at this point, it's just, sorry, bro. The people that are there are fucking amazing at not only what they do, but they do it well together. It's just shit timing, bro. It's just bad timing. That's all it is. And he's being a little bitch right now. Like, just go do your job. That's it, dude.
Well, that's the other thing about it here, because that last line, and then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job. Not famous enough. Are they trying to say that he's not over as a commentator? Is he trying to say that Tessatori is more famous? I don't understand that line.
That line is an interpretation of what they told him. I promise you. In that room,
they said a bunch of shit, and that's what he took from it.
No one said nothing about being famous. And I promise you, this was actually... I don't think they would have been as cold-blooded about this that I think some people might think they've been. I think this might have been a hard conversation for them. And you can correct me, you know more than I do in this aspect. I don't think they necessarily hate Corey. At least I don't feel like there's nothing that tells me that they dislike Corey. I could be wrong, but like...
I think they really liked him up until now. I think
now, because he's being a bitch about it.
Yeah, he's being a bitch about it now. Yeah.
No, this is awesome. This takes us right back to the thing we were talking about before with AEW. This is not the guy I want in my corner. I don't want the guy who fucks the bag up. Shut up. If you're mad at me, come yell at me. And I will try my best to explain to you why my business decision is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm the fucking quarterback and I make the call. If you're not getting on board and you're not doing the job, then you're going to go. I really just don't know what else you want to say. You're not going to get sympathy points. So what's the feedback on this? Are people feeling sympathetic?
It's kind of mixed from what I'm seeing. There are people who are like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up, and there's people who are like, good, because the teams that we have are dope right now. which is a lot of what we're saying. We fleshed it out and described it a little bit more, but from what I have seen from different websites and different social media platforms, the overall tone seems to be, like, for instance, the last line is, just in case you've wondered where I've been, where a lot of people have said, holy shit, I haven't been, I forgot.
Yeah.
Like, up until you tweeted just now and it became a thing, I actually didn't realize you weren't on the show anymore. Because you're laughing so much on the SmackDown show, you're paying way more attention on the Raw show, and all of a sudden he winds up in NXT. And all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, yeah, what happened to Corey? So it's just one of those fucking things.
What do you think? What do you think? Do people in the industry see NXT as a demotion? I honestly don't.
In the industry? Like within the business?
I mean, I don't know. I guess overall, I don't know. I don't see it that way. I see it as WWE and you being a vet around people who can use vets.
Well, here's the hole in Corey's logic, because the word demotion wasn't really used by anybody except him. And I get it, because he started in NXT and he worked his way out of NXT and got called up to the main roster and stuff like that. And I get that. But, Apollo Crews went back to NXT and he didn't bitch about it. Baron Corbin went back to NXT and didn't bitch about it. And if you want to go down the list of people who went back to NXT to do, quote unquote, the favors, I mean, we just had the fucking Rock on NXT this week. Like, this is really bad timing for him to be saying, well, I shouldn't be in NXT, when we just had John Cena's been to NXT. Randy Orton has gone to NXT. Like, recently, Randy Orton went to NXT and wrestled Javon Evans to get the kid over. Like, there's a litany of veterans in the process as we speak that are heading to NXT to put that talent over, and not just developmentally as far as in the room, in front of an audience, or even in like a small full cell. They're on the CW network. They're on national television.
Dude, he just killed himself. At
this tweet hurts a lot. Yeah,
he killed his career really bad here. This is terrible.
It comes across like you said, like it just. I don't want to use the word term "cry baby," but he's not being
bitch.
He's not being a team player in this situation, and he's being very vocal about it. That's the part that hurts. If you weren't being a team player and you were just giving attitude in the back, that would be different. It would be annoying, but I get it. We're in the privacy of the backstage area. I get it. When you start tweeting your displeasure, now you're letting the world know something's up. And if you're in a position where you're not getting the position you want because it's filled, you are becoming more and more expendable the more you open your mouth. Soon that whole... Like we said earlier, if you really wanted to be in the ring, you go somewhere else. Soon that's not going to be, it's once again going to be decided for him, because he's not going to quit to go wrestle, but if they fire him, he just might finally go live his dream somewhere else.
No, he's not.
You think he's done? Even now, if he left right now, he's not going in the ring?
He's not. He'll go, I mean, he can go in the ring all he wants. No one's going to care, dude. No one's going to care. Not going out like this. This is the wrong era to do this. This is not the right era to do this. And you just gave a bunch of really good examples why. I don't watch NXT because I just don't. I'm indifferent. That's the best way to say it. I'm just indifferent with it. Sometimes there are clips that I think are really cool, but the way they treat NXT and the way they've been treating NXT in the draft and the way that they've been actually treating, I feel like the WWE draft is for NXT. Like, that's what it feels like lately. And it's like, you get the people moving from Raw, SmackDown, but you really get to see who they pull up and what they start doing with them. And they've actually been working with the people that they've pulled up. So I see it as an extended roster of people with potential. And instead of bombing on national television on the big roster and killing your career, you actually put in a position with other people on your level to develop yourself on a big stage. And he is not treating it that way with this. And you got stars, like you said, Cena and The Rock, who are invested. This isn't something that's on the side. The big wigs of this company are invested in this portion of their company.
He has the opportunity to make the talent of the future.
Absolutely.
He could put them over with his ability to get people over and get these people ready for the main roster. But he'd rather sit there and sulk instead.
If I'm the commentary on that, don't sit next to me. Not after this tweet.
Well, he's not going to sit next to Booker for sure. Vic's going to have to be in the middle.
Nope.
No way.
Don't sit next to me on this shit. Nope.
This new version of NXT, the one where it's on CW, it feels big. It looks big. It's got the big entrances. It's got the big time fight feel. They have good storylines going. The best way that I can kind of make the comparison, and maybe people agree or disagree, it's to each their own, I guess. It feels a lot like college football. Whereas, because college football is big. It's popular. Tailgating and the whole shit. It's
bigger than NFL.
That's what I'm saying. For certain people, it's bigger than even the NFL with the rivalries and the Red River Game and the divisional stuff, the SEC powerhouses and all that other stuff. That's what NXT kind of feels like. It's like right at the cusp. It's like right there. Like there's like some of these guys can get into the main roster and start right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like with college football players get drafted by the NFL, they're starters right away because they're that talented.
NXT isn't house only.
No,
it's not dark matches only.
No, it's
you
not.
You have your own individual pay-per-view show.
Yes.
What the fuck are you crying about?
Sometimes it doesn't even follow pay-per-views from WWE anymore. Sometimes it's just its own pay-per-view.
It's got its own
own thing going.
They're trying to develop their own thing. They're getting better. And the number one thing I'll just keep going back to is the company is pouring money into it.
Yeah.
They just revamped everything. They gave it its own flavor.
Good.
No, good.
They just did an ECW show where Bubba Ray came back and got into the ring with Trick Williams to get Trick Williams over as a babyface.
Yeah,
This has been an almost weekly thing recently. Bailey was on the show last night to help get over Roxanne Perez to get her ready for the main roster, and he's copying an attitude.
And so now,
bad timing.
Like I said, I'm out of touch with NXT. So now basically they're going one step further. Not only are they putting money into it and actually doing something with their developmental talent, but they're actually telling champions to come work with the people that they might bring up.
That's what I'm saying. This is bad timing.
Because
everybody who's on the main roster is doing everything they can to bring these kids up, and you're using words like demotion. And you don't want to do it.
And don't say shit like demotion to people like Bailey. Don't say shit like that to Bianca. Don't say shit like that to...
Yeah, they had Bianca and Jade on there too. Before Jade's injury, yeah.
You want to talk demotion? The people who are at the top of the ladder now, people will say was what made NXT the best.
Yeah.
And their top roster right now at WWE. Dude, this guy's out of his fucking mind, dude. Isn't he married to that girl who does the moonwalk?
Yeah, Carmella, yeah.
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
Fucking get them both out of here.
Well, one of them's already gone. So
all right, well the other one's on his fucking way.
Yeah, I'm coming home, mama.
Coming home.
I'm coming home. All right, guys, that is our main event conversation here. We're just spitballing here about the situation. Corey, do you, big man, but, you're making a mistake here, brother.
I don't know he did himself.
You're making a mistake here, brother. You got the opportunity of a lifetime. You can turn this bitch around. Let's go, baby.
No,
upcoming, we are 2 weeks away from the Royal Rumble.
Holy crap, I can't believe it.
It's 2 weeks away. I'd like to get a roundtable set for that before the show, so we got to talk. I already have some guests lined up. Should be a fun time. I'm here to announce, in case that he is listening, I will not be home for the Royal Rumble. I will be invading Castle Pombo.
Oh, shit.
I'm headed to the Casa. We're going to be doing it up. We're doing a double family thing for the Rumble. It's going to be a great time. I'll be live posting, of course, because that's what I like to do when I'm drunk and watching pay-per-views. I like to talk shit. I throw subliminal comments out. So if you're not watching what I'm watching, you have no clue what I'm talking about. Like the Raw Netflix show when Rhea Ripley busted out Orange Crush out of nowhere, and I just put it out, Orange motherfucking Crush, and nobody, what the fuck is he talking about? Watch what I'm watching, baby, and you up to date. So I'd like to get a roundtable going for that, so we can break down the Royal Rumble leading into that. Obviously, very, very open about my dislike so far for AEW, but I have something that I do want to talk about as far as AEW goes, because it goes back to the Max Netflix thing. I've heard some stuff recently that we definitely need to break down and talk about, so that's coming up also. We got a lot of stuff on the docket coming up. So we want to take this time here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And, of course, without a doubt, please, thank you for enjoying all the shit that we've been doing. Before I go real quick, check out the YouTube channel because it's on fire right now. I'm dumping I'm doing the full episode on there with the clips, individual segments. It's all on YouTube. We're uploading daily now. We're on the schedule. It's looking good. Check it out. Get those numbers up. I'm copyright free, so soon if the numbers get right, we can start talking monetization. Come on, check it out. Check it out. All right, I've been doing this long enough. I'd like to make a little money with it, guys. So hook it up, hook a brother up. So
just a couple dollars,
just a couple bucks, a couple of cents a day will keep me from being
to buy hot dogs.
Yeah, give me enough money where I can get Corey his plane ticket back home so he can assess.
No, fuck that. We're not paying for that.
Foot the bill. Come on, he's going through some shit. He needs a friend.
Still, you're not making any with those posts.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, you're doing the opposite. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next week.
Mic drop. Wait a minute. This is too much. Cooking it like a pro. Wrap it up, everybody. Show's over.